If you've been watching this show, you know we've been talking a lot about her. She's the woman who was shot and killed, even though she was unarmed, on Capitol Hill on January 6th. Did you know that she was a veteran of the United States Air Force and deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan? She was 35 years old and left behind her husband, Aaron Babbitt, who joins us right now. Aaron, thank you very much for joining us. We are so sorry for your loss. How are you, sir? And welcome to Newsmax.
Thank you for having me, Greg.
So, Mr. Babbitt, Aaron, one thing that has kind of flummoxed me and confused me since the very beginning, how little attention has been given to your late wife. We know, we all saw it. She was unarmed when she was shot and killed by a Capitol Hill police officer. And for the life of me, I don't understand why more people are not concerned about this, not talking about it. What are your thoughts, please?
For all intents and purposes, I guess it's just not sexy enough to fit the narrative that's going on right now. They're just lambasting her on social media and mainstream news. You know, the term insurrectionist keeps getting thrown around, rioter. To me, she was just a blue-collar American veteran that wanted her voice to be heard, and nobody was listening.
You were not on Capitol Hill yourself. You were not in Washington that day. She was. I want to show this video of an officer who seemed to be waving people into the Capitol. And we've seen footage like this. This is not the only example, but the security was so lax. And at this point, some official person in uniform seems to be encouraging people to make their way into the Capitol. At another point, I see people walking directly by Capitol Hill police officers. So if you could speak to that a bit, you have heard, again, the term insurrectionist and rioters. There are plenty of people who walked in because they were allowed to.
Yeah, and, you know, if you watch any of the videos, you know, my wife posted, they're all over the place at this point. She specifically said she just finished watching the president speak. It's my understanding that the majority of any violence that happened at the Capitol happened prior to the president being done speaking. And then I've also seen a video, can't find it anywhere now, but it's an overhead of inside the Capitol, and you can see my wife calmly walking through the red velvet ropes, taking a video, you know, just walking very calmly with everybody else. I mean, she wasn't violent. She wasn't there to hurt anybody.
Now, I know this is tough, but we do have a screenshot of the officer holding the gun that at the moment he fired the weapon at Ashley. And I know it's tough, but this is the moment when it happened. Now, she was, it looked like, trying to crawl through or jump through a window that was on a door. I mean, she was trying to get to the other area, which apparently was restricted, correct?
Yes. I mean, apparently that's where that is. I'm not familiar with the Capitol layout. I've never been inside that building in my life. But I've seen the pictures that you've seen. Nothing she did that day warranted to be, you know, one shot, one kill, just executed.
Agreed, sir. I mean, again, she is unarmed and she's jumping through a window. Restricted.
With her hands on the door. And
we always hear, show me your hands, show me your hands. Her hands are visible. So I don't see any justification at all. I know they're not criminally charging this officer, whose name we don't know for sure officially. Do you happen to know the officer's name?
No, there's been no official word from anybody in a position of authority or capacity that has come out and said this gentleman's name. So
at this point, you are suing and there's been some conflicting reports here. So you are suing the Capitol Hill police officer in question, or the Capitol Hill Police Department, for roughly $12 million.
No, I've not heard any of that. So I think some of this is just hearsay. Yes, there is going to be some type of civil action coming, but I've heard of no dollar amount, and it's not been filed as of yet.
Has anyone explained to you what happened? You certainly are entitled to an explanation. Has anyone reached out from the Capitol Police or any
No.
government? No.
The only officers, he's a detective, that I heard from was actually Metro PD. Nobody from the Capitol Police Department. One congressman called me that night on the 6th, and it was Congressman Issa. And he was actually confused as to why he was calling me, because I don't live in his district. And I figured out later it's because my business is in his district. But I never heard from the congressman that, I live in his district.
So, again, when I do want to ask you again about the moment there. This officer opens fire. She's unarmed. And then the next morning, this is what really grabbed me. I was watching live television, and the Today Show and all the morning shows were there, and they weren't talking about that a woman was killed. A Trump supporter, perhaps that's why they found this not interesting or not worthy of reporting, but they were ignoring it, and everybody knew it, and I couldn't believe it. I saw Savannah Guthrie in front of Capitol Hill for an hour, and she didn't mention anything about what we all knew, that a person was shot and killed unarmed in that building right behind her. You say it doesn't fit the narrative, but still, I just don't see how anyone denies reality.
And you see how fast they cleaned up that scene. I mean, they had my wife's blood off that ground as quick as they could. They pulled her body from that floor as quick as they could. They carried her upside down like they were draining out a deer. Anybody with basic medical experience can tell you, elevate that wound, and they carried her upside down, and they really wanted to get her out of there as fast as they could. And that's not to save her life. They just wanted to erase that from that moment of time.
Sir, we want to highlight that there is a GoFundMe page. We all know that with the death, there are all kinds of unexpected expenses and all kinds of things pop up. Ashley Babbitt Official Memorial. Anyone can donate. And also, if folks want an update on this, there is a Twitter account, Justice for Ashley. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen. Well, it's right there, @4Ashley. You can follow the developments. In our remaining time, sir, if you could just tell me, all I know about your wife is she was a veteran, and what happened on that day. Anything you'd like to share about Ashley, please?
She was a beach girl. We live at the beach. We'd spend every day down at the beach that we could. Sunsets, go to breweries. We just definitely embedded ourselves in our neighborhood, and everybody loved her. There's nothing really more that she loved more. You're showing a picture of her dog. Her dog died of a broken heart in February because she didn't come home. She loved talking to people with opposing views, and that was her favorite thing to do. And after that, it was, let's go drink a beer together, friend. And my wife was a very magnanimous, large ball of energy in a very small package, and a lot of people are reeling from the loss of her. That the void is insurmountable, unexplainable, but we wake up every day missing her.
Well, it's amazing, sir, to me. First of all, I'm terribly sorry for your loss, but it's amazing that this is not an issue that people aren't discussing, certainly in the media. We all saw what happened. She was possibly where she shouldn't have been, but she was unarmed and did not pose an immediate threat to anybody, and no one's talking about it. And it's very, very troubling to me. That's very strange. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Babbitt.
Please.
I would love to. I'd love to have you back, and we will cover whatever development happens. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you, Greg.
You bet. Thank you, Mr. Babbitt, Aaron Babbitt, husband of the late Ashley Babbitt, and we'll be right back.